What is up, SmackNPie here. Let me remove the mask and welcome back to the Dark Deception video. Now, for those of you who've missed my live stream last time where I talked about this in detail, this is for you and a couple of new stuff here and there in this video. So, 5 things to expect from the nurses of Dark Deception Chapter 4. Now, as you all know, Nurses level, which is of course first level of Chapter 4, is supposed to be this ominous, scary level of Chapter 4, because we're looking at Joy Gang as this full-off, not-so-joyfulness, self-destruct sequence, children-themed, but not really, but still overall intense level. And for Mama Bear and Trigger Teddy, I can't say the same. It's different, it's weird, and we have this spectrum. On one side you have Joy Gang, the other side you have Mama Bear and Trigger Teddy, like being completely opposite to what Joy Gang is all about, hence leaving Nurses level in the middle, having both scurry, ominous, and intense. So I know what you're thinking. Okay, Smack, we get it. It's that kind of level. What should we expect from it then? What does this level has in store for us as a player? Well, my friend, that's why I'm here. Here are 5 things to expect from the Nurses level according to the content we have right now and my knowledge of Dark Deception. And before I begin, do let me know your 5 things you're looking forward to in this level down in the comments below. Now, if there is anything we've learned in all of Dark Deception, especially with Nurses level, is never count out the possibility of extra stuff. And when I say extra stuff, I don't mean secrets or notes. No, I'm talking about extra additional stuff. Something that developers don't have to add in, but they still do to make it even better, not just for the level, not just for the game, but for themselves as well. Back in Clown's level, the weapon we used to fight Goliath Clown or the Mammoth Clowns, that came out of nowhere. Who would have thought, or who would have thunk that would be the weapon to fight back? Or how about that valve or pipe, by the way, Half-Life ALYX, that we used pillars to slow down the Doom Ducky, to eventually put him down for our escape. These are some additional stuff that weren't necessary, but were added in that made it 10 times better. But I know what you're thinking. Hey, Smack, those were the boss fights. Talk about a normal level that would make sense for the Nurses level. Okay then, let's talk about it. Let's start with the weak stuff. Stranger sewers, doors. Yep, those were super unnecessary and annoying, like they didn't have to add that in, especially with the fact that the Stranger Sewers level was a huge level in terms of environment or area. You add in doors, you don't know which ducky will pop up and kill you for good, not to mention the spikes as always, but in Crazy Carnival things took a different and really interesting turn, with not just these cannon traps that can kill you easily, I hate these, but also this boogie. I like to call it Boogie, which is running around the edge of the map. Spoilers alert, the annoying part of the map, where you'll have to spend most of your time running endlessly, just getting exhausted, and this Boogie will tear you apart. You would have to be cautious every time, and make sure you use teleportation. Make sure it is ready, because whenever it appears, it comes fast. Trust me on that one. So with those context in place, that leads us to a very interesting theory. Pills. Now in my live stream, I went into details as to how this could fit the narrative, not just from gameplay mechanics, perspective, but also story-wise, and this level-wise would make so much sense. Actually, now that I think about it, it would be a perfect scenario. One of the biggest giveaways was from Nurse's voice reveal, in which she said specifically, "Here, have a pill." I know this has nothing to do with it being a possible mechanic. For all we know, this could just be a death cutscene as soon as Reaper Nurses kill you. This happens, who knows? But one thing we do know for a fact, that they need some trap mechanic, something that falls pretty close to the home for Nurses, and since we've already teased the pills thanks to Nurses, or should I say Reaper Nurses, it's not far-fetched to say that pills could play a big role in all of this. Okay, so we've worked out how it makes sense to add pills into the game. What is next? How do they work out? What are the possible ways to make it work out? Well, here are some theories that we would believe could end up happening for it. Number 1, pills could be thrown at us by Reaper Nurses to slow us down and eventually kill us. Now, we need to separate both Nurses, Reaper Nurses and Matron. These two are different and have different roles which we'll touch later. So here in this instance, we're talking about Reaper nurses, the ones that do dirty work of Matron, the one that'll be chasing us around the hospital or asylum while we're collecting soul shards. I have went into details about this in the past. You guys remember in Crazy Carnival boss fight, before the Mammoth or Goliath clowns do their fist to the ground move, there's a circular cursor few seconds before the actual movement on the ground that lets you know about it, and if you get away in time, you can escape and use that to your advantage. This is exactly how Reaper nurses will use this mechanic, because I was thinking, if pills were to play some part in this, how does she throw pills at us? And this is how she does, by marking a specific distance in any hallway of the area, which could only be escaped by using speed boost, and not to mention traps and other stuff that we'll touch later on in the video. And if we're successful in escaping, we won't get hit, and voila. And if not, well, prepare to get stunned or slowed down, and eventually leading to our death for good. Number 2, pills would be a choice either to kill us or stun us, founded during the level where we're collecting soul shards. Now this one is a bit confusing, it needs a bit of reminding. Spoilers alert, by the way. The second last power in all of Dark Deception is this, telekinesis, the one that'll be unlocked before and for Nurse's level, the first of chapter 4. This will be unlocked after we try to get into the portal. However, there will be a cage locking us from the other side, and we'll have to use this power, get the shard from the other side, open the cage, keep this one detail in mind moving forward. Now to put this into perspective, while we're collecting soul shards during the level, remember, reveal shard and stun shard, these are called bonus shards. These count for S rank, you need them to progress for the S rank, trust me. And guess what, while you're collecting these shards and unlocking doors and cages to move forward, chances are you're going to run into some other shards that are not soul related, and that's where the pills would come in. Imagine this, 3 shards are behind the cage, you use the power with 3 of them, 1 free for the price of 3, you get a pill with 3 of them that either stuns you for someone, in this case Reaper nurses, as she now knows your location, or Matron, or it does something to your vision, making it blurry, making you go crazy. And number 3, pills are only used by Matron, big nurse of course, every once in a while when she decides to show up. Or the big nurse Matron will appear every once in a while, giving you pills to stun you for her goons, Reaper nurses, to do the dirty work. Or here's a good one, if you get the pill, not only you're slowed down with vision blurry, but also Matron now knows your location and she's coming. You need to regain your consciousness fast, and you need to run and escape her, otherwise you know what's gonna happen. Now you might be wondering, why should we expect a roller skating thing from nurses? Let me tell you why. Vincent Livings, the executive director of Dark Deception, said in the live stream that Reaper nurse's roller skating animation was one of the toughest things to make. Why? Because she changes from walking to running to rolling with roller skating, and she changes her weapon. Think about it. Weapons. There's only one weapon that we know, and that is syringe that she'll use to inject us, eventually killing us. Hence, pills earlier was a big deal. She needs more weapons. Syringe can't be just the only one. Remember when Win said that most or some of the monsters from chapter 4 will be faster than our normal speed, and not only that, some of them will be faster than our speed boost, which means we will need to strategize other powers to use it effectively. Roller skating is the animation where we'll have to use it another way. Think of her as Agatha. Unless she sees you, she will be either running or walking in her normal speed, but as soon as she sees you, she runs as fast as your speed. That was scurry, and Reaper nurse will be even more scurry. Why? Because she will be faster than our speed boost. And just like Agatha roaming around talking to us, or herself in this case, Reaper nurse will be talking to us as well. Now I'm looking forward to that. Now Matron was revealed as the name of Big Nurse, the one that everyone has been bullying, harassing her by saying her thick or thug nurse, me included. Apologies Matron, she will punish us for saying that, all of us. Please Matron, we apologize, but she will be someone to look forward to because her role is quite interesting, not only from gameplay perspective but also story-wise. Who is a Matron? We talked about her a little bit, but she's someone who takes the lead role in leading nurses in a medical institution. Whether good or bad, we will have to deal with it. Matron, aka Big Nurse in this case, has a medic bag on her head. It's confirmed that although she's not the boss, she does play a very important role in this level. Earlier we talked about how pills could be exclusive to her. Think about it. In real life, Matron would walk in every once in a while, check on nurses, patients to make sure everything is working properly, and take actions when necessary. She could play the same role in here. If Reaper nurses can't do her job to catch us, Matron will take matters into her own hands, literally. She could appear in Zone 2, 2 or 3, not in the first zone, that's for sure. And lastly, whatever happens to the level, we will make sure she stays there in that hospital, never to come back for good. This one personally is what I'm looking forward to the most because it makes the level so interesting, not only because of the fact that it would make the level 10 times harder, but also it would add so much value and respect to Matron. Think about it, we would not only have to keep an eye on Reaper nurses, but also Matron, also patients and other characters, AI or whatever you want to call them. This is where the location matters, this is where the power matters, this is where the pills matters, and this is where the Matron role could be utilized in second or third zone. Starting with location, patients will have a higher chance to be an AI if the location is somewhere between mental asylum or medical institution that takes emergency-related patients only. Can you imagine hearing screams, suffering and pain and agony of patients inside their cells while you're roaming around the area collecting shards? Secondly, when you're using the power to collect shards from behind cells, which of course either prompt the door to open or stay closed, who knows by unlocking the cells what you're letting out. And if you do that, not only patients could play a role with the pills, and guess what? The good part, if few or many patients escapes, Matron gets an alarm, and now she's coming to make sure everything is in right order. She will do whatever it is necessary. She'll put other patients to sleep, that's for sure, but since you're the troublemaker, your punishment will be severe. Patients could be a game-changing inclusion in this. They need to be in here to make this even more great, and I'm here for that. Unfortunately, all 3 levels of Chapter 4 have an upper hand right now over me when it comes to boss fight. I just can't get it right. For any 3 of them, that would make sense. I'm gonna ask you guys, could Matron be the boss fight? Surgeon, doctors, someone? Because if not, they're in zone 2 or 3, then boss fight will definitely include patients. This fight will include everything we had so far. Pills, roller skates, cages, magnet powers, patients, all of that. Giant monster, imagine it, throwing pills at you. 2 giant syringes coming right to the ground, making that cursor just like in Crazy Carnival, whilst there are goons, Reaper nurses using roller skates, and you have to either unlock 4 doors by getting shards from closed cages, opening them, and avoiding patients that, mind you, you let them out in the first place, to hit those 4 buttons to escape the entire madness for good. So yeah, overall, this level is tight. What are you looking forward to in this level? And finally, stay safe, use hand sanitizers, wash your hands regularly, stay away from touching other people, and let's fight this COVID-19 and end it once and for all. That sounded like Batman. I'm taking Batman role.